Now you're just wasting my time. When you make up your mind, let me know. There are a number of people I'll need to talk to. The process won't be instantaneous, but with this evidence, my path is clear. It shouldn't take more than a few days, and then we can begin moving forward again. Back when we were stationed at Helios, our scouts reported that a group was establishing itself in the area as a distributor of pre-war weapons. Our elder at the time, Elijah, was too concerned with getting Helios running and fending off the NCR, so he ordered us to leave them alone. It's time that we correct that oversight and show this region that the Brotherhood is still a force to be reckoned with. I want you to visit these weapons dealers, this Van Graff family. Make an example of them. Leave no one alive. When the job is done, report back, and I'll arrange for a team to clean up the site and retrieve the weapons. No. Your role in this is done. The rest is up to us. There's much more for me to do to make the transition as smooth as possible. Come back in a few days, and I should be firmly installed as elder. Is that a waiver of resolve I sense? The Brotherhood is not in the habit of taking on the timid. While I can't dispute that you've earned our gratitude, I'm afraid you're going to have to be patient. Such a change takes time. Stop back in a few days and we can speak of this again. Now, I must be off. There's much to do. Here, I'll show you. It's easy once you get used to it. First, we'll start with putting it on. Not even close. Power armor isn't something you wear so much as use. It's a weapon in its own right, and takes skill to wield. If you don't know what you're doing, you won't even be able to walk with it on. So how about a bit of quick instruction? Well done. This is a small step in the right direction, but it's damn good to move forward again. Now, I believe congratulations are in order. It is my honor to bestow upon you the title of Paladin of the Brotherhood, for your meritorious service in its name. Normally there'd be a ceremony and such, but everyone is too busy at the moment for such frivolity. I can give you this, however, your very own suit of power armor. We can't spare our best, but I had the knights assemble this one for your use. Which reminds me, you don't even know how to use these, do you? Yes, I thought you might, given how much time you've spent here. That's not usually a request we agree to. Typically, we take in the young, so that they might be trained through adolescence. In special cases, we allow exceptional individuals to conditionally join. Luckily for you, you happen to be exceptional. The condition is that you must complete a task. This task must prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that you have what it takes to join the Brotherhood. I happen to have something perfectly suitable in mind. Though I warn you, it won't be easy. Still interested? Had second thoughts, did you? We've made some progress since the lockdown was lifted, but the task I had in mind is still available if you want it. Do you now? If I didn't already owe you a great deal, I'd be highly suspicious right now. You'll have to tell me about it sometime. I would. I'm the senior-most paladin in the chapter, and have more combat experience than any two others here put together. I would put this chapter back on the right path. If I could just assume leadership, I'd gladly support another candidate, but no one has the courage to step forward and make the attempt, so it falls to me. That'll have to do. I'd recommend going to see Ramos first. As head of security, he's more familiar with our protocols than anyone else here. You could also try to find something relevant in our data store, though last I heard Scribe Ibsen is having a bit of a problem accessing it. Report anything you find to me, and we'll move from there. And if McNamara should give you any tasks, I'd ask that you kept me abreast of them, if you must. The filtration system. He wouldn't have you looking if we didn't need those parts badly. Which means that system's in real trouble. If the air filters go, it will become impossible to breathe down here. We'd be forced to evacuate the bunker. I can't believe he's kept something like this to himself. We should have every able-bodied person in the chapter working on this. All the more reason for you to find a way to get McNamara out of that chair before he dooms us all. Second part. What are you talking about? That is the standard procedure, yes. For example, McNamara gives orders to head scribe Taggart, who then relays further orders to the scribes. If we can just find an instance where McNamara went around someone and gave orders to their subordinates, we'll have him. I wasn't aware that failing to do so was punishable, however. Interesting. That's a sensible notion. Your familiarity with the nearby terrain makes you perfect as a liaison. I've been trying to get the Elder to send out scouts for years, and he's always been resistant to the idea. Said they'd be a vulnerability. I wonder what changed his mind. What did you have in mind? Just as I thought. McNamara gave my men new orders without telling me. The nerve of that man. This little stunt is probably what got them killed in the first place. Our normal patrol routes are known to be relatively safe. If I become Elder, the lockdown will be lifted, and we'll once again be able to send patrols out into the wastes. We'll become powerful again, and when that happens, it will be good to have the Brotherhood as an ally. Good enough? Yes. I know the loss of the patrols has weighed heavily on his mind for some time. He took it very personally when they first went missing. That was when I first began to seriously question his ability to lead us. A commander has to be able to deal with the potential loss of his men. It's strange that he would ask you to find mission discs on them, however. The missing paladins were all on standard patrols, which don't need them. Only brothers sent on special assignments are given mission discs. If you should find any on the lost patrols, let me know. This is exactly what I've been looking for. McNamara gave my men new orders without telling me, thereby breaking the chain that binds. With this, I can finally have him removed as Elder and end this ridiculous lockdown. This is exactly the kind of thing I'm trying to avoid by ousting McNamara. Then that means I can cast McNamara down for giving those secret orders to my paladins. Well done. That's exactly what I was looking for. Then it's a good thing this weapon has fallen into the right hands. Shouldn't you be securing supplies for us? Then we have a game-changing weapon. It was worth keeping from our enemies. If they had it. We did as the Codex dictated. How dare you insult the honor of the brothers and sisters who died there? The Codex is clear on this. It says they can't be trusted. It says that we are to protect humanity from them at all costs. I can't. Then we will accept that fate with honor. I'm waiting to hear why this deserves our attention. This won't defeat our enemies. What is it, Veronica? Do you? For once, I agree. We can't let people go on believing the Brotherhood has lost its teeth. We must strike while our enemies are distracted with each other. Our entire 200 years of history say that a handful of troops with the best equipment and training can stand up to any army. That was a failure of strategy, not philosophy. If the Elder in charge were a paladin and not a scribe, history says otherwise. Welcome back, my friend. What can I do for you? Are you willing to listen to me now, outsider? Have you reconsidered helping me, outsider? I do what I must to see that the chapter survives. What is it, outsider? Have you discovered anything? I appreciate all you've done, but I'm going to have my hands full for a little while. Come back later and we'll talk. It looks like you've managed to talk some sense into the Elder, outsider. Be assured I'll still be keeping an eye on him. Your efforts to help this chapter are not unappreciated. Now what can I do for you? Welcome, my friend. A new day has dawned for this chapter, and moving forward we will no longer cower in the dark, and we have you to thank for it. You'll find that I can be generous to those who show loyalty. Here, take this key. If you ever find yourself in need of repair, head to our safe house to the northeast. Now, what can I do for you? What do you want, outsider? There, I think you got the hang of it now. You should be able to use any type of power armor you come across using what you just learned. Very well then. In addition to the armor, I've given the order that all of our arms and equipment be made available for your purchase. Finally, while you are now a member of the Brotherhood, I cannot ask any more of you. I'm sure you have goals of your own outside these walls. You are free to come and go as you please, though I hope you'll return to us someday in a more permanent capacity. I wish you the best outside. Brother, Helios was the worst goddamn action I've seen in a long, long career of fighting. Nolan will resume this discussion later. I can see you have company. Elijah was a strange one. His even becoming Elder was highly questionable, seeing as how he was a scribe. Typically, only paladins are eligible, but an exception was made in his case on account of him being a genius. Unfortunately, whatever scientific acumen he had didn't extend to tactics. Trying to defend Helios was a blunder of the worst kind, and many brothers lost their lives because of it. Many of the senior paladins, myself included, advised him to fight a retreating action, but he refused to budge. Said he almost had it working. We never did find out exactly what he was talking about. When the perimeter was finally overrun, the Elder had simply vanished. So, you're the outsider that's been given leave to wander around freely. Desperate times call for desperate measures, I guess. Name's Hardin. I'm the head paladin of this chapter, and I think we might be able to help each other out. I don't know what the Elder talked to you about, but I can tell you this chapter is in trouble, and he's at the center of it. Are you willing to listen to what I have to say? Veronica, I hope you've been practicing your drills, Veronica. It's dangerous outside. Then what do you propose? Every day that he's here, the risk increases. Better that than not act at all. If you change your mind, though, come find me, and we'll talk more. I half expected you to say that. In which case, I'll continue to pursue the matter on my own. Should you continue dealing with the Elder and find yourself beginning to see my point of view, I'll be around. Veronica's a special case. She handles the procurement of supplies. If we didn't let her and those like her back in, we'd all starve. If the Elder could manage it, he'd shut them out as well, and all in the name of security. Which is why we need to replace him. I don't know. I've gone through our records dozens of times looking for a precedent regarding the dismissal of an Elder and come up with nothing. The people who are most likely to know how it could be done are also some of McNamara's strongest supporters, so they refuse to help me, which is why we're having this conversation. An outsider such as yourself would arouse less suspicion asking questions about such matters. The fact that the Elder has some tasks for you means his faithful won't suspect you, and you have a line open to the man himself. In short, you're in a perfect position to help me. Will you at least think about it? Why should you trust the Elder? I'd recommend listening to both of us and choosing whom to trust for yourself. So are you willing to listen? As you may have already heard, this entire base is under a state of lockdown. No one goes out except small patrols at night. Morale has plummeted as time has gone by, and many of our current paladins haven't seen combat outside of training simulations. Most of the chapter has been sealed in here for years, and those few who were outside when the lockdown was initiated are forbidden from returning, and all because of the Elder's explicit order that no one be allowed in or out. The only way things will change is if a new Elder is installed. Of course I have, many times in fact. The Elder has an open-door policy and will listen to advice on any subject save this one. He refuses to see that our isolation is slowly weakening us. Aside from being our duty, going out on missions is what kept us strong, and because he fails to see that, he must be replaced. After lifting the lockdown, the first thing I'd do is send scouts out to recon the area. We need to know what's going on out there. Next, I'd resume patrols in the near vicinity, and begin sending search teams out to the spots the scouts reported were relatively safe. It's standard procedure when a chapter relocates to an area, but standard procedure wasn't our last Elder's style, either. It's not that I dislike the Elder, but I strongly disapprove of his current style of leadership. We're safe, yes, but at what cost? It's a travesty is what it is. Every second we sit on our hands down here is another second that we're not fulfilling our sworn duty. I could be wrong, but I think that's a dead end. McNamara has always followed orders, and we've been incommunicado since fleeing Helios. I could hardly call myself head paladin if I didn't. It's one of the first things every initiate learns when they start training. What about it? I thought you were made of sterner stuff than that. The Brotherhood could use someone with your skills. In any case, was there something else you wanted?